Okay, so the initial question was, how do I respond in all of these things in love and grace and truth without putting shame or guilt on our kids? That's one of the things that we're learning is, how do we do that? How do we respond in unconditional love and not doing anything that's going to cause our kids to feel any sort of shame or guilt? So the question that came up the most was, this was the number one most asked question. I see that my child or friend or grandchild is walking around in shame. They're hiding, meaning they're not talking, they're not being themselves. I'm seeing a pattern of, this is how my child was, and now for maybe the last month or 3 months, depending on when we're recognizing it, all of a sudden they're hiding in their room, or they're answering in shorter sentences, that kind of thing. So what do we do when we see that?
Yeah, number one, I think it's good that you're noticing. You see, many parents don't even notice, and then it's too late. They find out when something explodes and then realize I didn't notice. So first and foremost, it's very important that as a parent, I keep an eye, a protective eye on my children. Remember, it's not a controlling eye, it's a protective eye. Those are two different eyes. When it comes to these kind of things, there is some things that I feel like it's very important to, when your child has already walked away and is already distanced from you, one of the ways how you can just start coming back, let's give you an example. Let's say your kid is 16 years old or 13 years old or 12 years old, and suddenly she kind of drifts, or he kind of drifts. And you said you've had a really good relationship with them. You went to Disneyland, you did a lot of good things, you play soccer with them, you play table games, but suddenly you find out it's kind of like going into a different direction. And one of the basic things is, obviously something happened in the relationship. There's something that broke. There's something that doesn't feel safe anymore. Most of us, we like to instantly blame the kid and say, you're hanging out with the wrong people, you're doing this and you're doing this, which is actually the worst thing you can do, because you're actually alienating them again. And so one of the better things to do is find the connection. And one of the ways that I feel important to find connection is, if you feel that your son and daughter have alienated or walked away and you're feeling they're a little bit distant and everything else, try to say, for example, just as an example, say, hey, I'd like to look at a couple pictures with you from, when we went to Disneyland or when we did this. Try to bring connection again when everything was fine. Try to, if you have certain traditions, for example, we have coffee and cake, hey, would you want to have coffee and cake like we used to have? Right? And don't be offended when the first time, no, I don't want anything. That's okay. Start becoming consistent. Try to connect with things that when you had good memories. Say certain things that, hey, that was really nice when we used to do this and this and this. Don't say all the things that she's not doing or he's not doing. Find one and start connecting with one. Start communicating with one and try to figure out how to gain that relationship, to have a conversation, just friendly conversation, not deep, just friendly conversation. And in that process, slowly and surely, don't have agendas that has to happen by 2 weeks, and then if it's in 2 weeks not, then I'm going to do something. Is something happened, and you have to find out what happened. And sometimes there's ways how to work that out and say, you know what, I'm so sorry that maybe you want to ask questions. Maybe you want to apologize before you even ask the question. You know what, I said this to my kids many times. I'm only a dad to a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old for the first time in my life for a boy. I'm only the first time in my life to an 8-year-old girl. I don't know how to do everything right. So I just want to say, and I did this sporadically, I just want to say, if there's anything I've done that I hurt you, anything that didn't make you feel safe, I just want to let you know that I'm very sorry. And if you can bring that up to me, that would be great. So I come in because my view is the enemy came in, I did something stupid or something happened, and he's trying to get my kid to believe lies. And it's not about pride as a dad. It's about me as a warrior coming in. So I'm to equip my son and daughter as a warrior. I need to find out what the lie is. I need to know where they got shot at in the spiritual realm. And obviously, a lot of times those things get projected onto the dad and onto the mom. And in those moments when you come in and you say, hey, is there anything that I've done? Those are things that you can start using to get back into connection with your children. And that is not just when they're kids, but that is when they're older as well. If you have no good relationship with your older children, it doesn't matter. You can come back and say, remember when we used to do this, this, this? Every time you start talking about things when you had a good time, over time, that will bring good, happy hormones into the brain, and they will start laughing. They will start doing things. They will go, oh, yeah, I remember. Find some funny moments that you guys had. Laugh about those. It brings down the things, and then you can start building connection again.
And if there's a trust that's broken so much that they don't even want to go there at that point, sometimes we even have to say, you know what, I'm sorry, in the past, you probably tried to be vulnerable, and I defended or I did something that made you feel like I'm not going to listen right now. And I want you to let you know, I'm really sorry. I'm going to right now, I'm not going to defend. I really want to hear and listen. Because sometimes we don't even realize we've had a pattern of defending and making it feel not safe to talk to us. So sometimes we even have to address the past of how we've related to them. So they feel like, okay, it's going to be different this time.
And also for guys, we're busy. Always busy, don't have time. You know, we need to make the money, so we have to pay the bills and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's very important to also say, you know, I'm so sorry that I've always been busy when you really needed me. And I can tell that you wanted me, but you didn't ask the question because you didn't want to be rejected. You didn't want to hear it one more time. I'm busy, right? So these are ways how when you start speaking to whoever is hurt, start speaking how they feel, instantly that door opens because they feel hurt and valued. That's the issue. I'm just going to draw something. For us, it's an important part. Most relationships, actually, what they do is they work on a. If you're in a healthy relationship, this is your heart, okay? When people do life with you, they drip certain things and actions over their life. They will come down here, and they will all roll down in your heart, and you're going to be so excited. You go, man, this is great. This is one. These people were great. They said hi to me. You know, that all works, you know. Now, when you start having bitterness in your heart, and people get hurt, when your kids are walking with guilt and shame, what happens? They're building a wall. And what happens with that wall is that they'll have to say 100 words of kind words to fill the water up so it'll trickle in. So you have to say it over and over again. You will feel yourself sometimes say the same thing. You'll say, well, if people say it the first time, you reject it. What's that it? That's the wall. The second, third time, well, maybe I believe it. By the time they say 5 or 10 times, you suddenly go, all right, thank you, right? So you know you have issues. Your kid or people will have the same issues. And so what you're doing, if this goes on beyond this, so there's a wall, this is life here, and if this is beyond this, there's a straw, which I call it, and basically, you're never going to get in there. There's no way you're going to get in there. No matter what you do, you will never reach this person, ever. Only through Holy Spirit that is going to tell you, drop that word right here. And some relationships in some families is so destroyed, so many walls are being put up, that the only way to do it is, Holy Spirit, what do I need to say? Because this will drop right in the heart. That's what prophetic words are. That's what you get when you, for example, that was just for me. When somebody who does not know you speaks to you, that is what happens. They speak that right in here, and you can hear it. And so those are the things you want to start talking about in your family. Those are the things you want to start interceding to your kids and to the people, your grandchildren, or in your family members. Those are the things you want to do because this is real life. And if you understand this and you see it, you don't get upset. Well, I've done all this water, all these things that I've said. And guess what? They didn't hear it. Right? They didn't hear. Because bitterness is up here. And you can't say, well, you have bitterness. It's not going to help. It's not going to help. You have to learn, Holy Spirit, what do I need to do to get in here? This is going to soften this up, and then you get to the heart.
Yeah, that's a really powerful question. The what am I doing or what have I done to cause you to feel unsafe to listen or to ask me a question? I just want to encourage us. It is difficult to hear the first time when your child says it's actually this, and We realize, we all know that none of us are trying to purposefully hurt our children, but the humility that we've been talking about of, wow, I am so sorry. I really did not realize I was doing that. And then a second question after that is, when you feel that again, or as I'm doing that, would you please help me? Is that next humble question that allows the child, or even the adult child, the friend, whomever it is, to start being assertive and speaking into that relationship. Mom, you're doing that again. Wow, I am so sorry. Thank you so much for reminding me. And that helps build that connection because the child actually has a part in that relationship.